So much I want for both of us, and we can't have it if I'm sick.
Oh, we're going to have it all, Nicole.
You giving me Dr. Kavanaugh's money-back guarantee on that?
Absolutely. Come on now, this problem is just temporary.
You know, maybe there is something wrong. A month ago, I felt just fine, and now I feel like everything's falling apart.
Well, now, between me and modern medicine, we're going to have you feeling fine in no time.
You? If my love for you were medicinal, I would be a very healthy woman.
Mom, did you read my contract with Gavin yet? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Jody, that's okay. Come on down.
Yes, you should be used to seeing it like that by now.
Yeah.
What was this about a contract?
Oh, it's an agreement she signed with Gavin Wiley.
Yeah, you said you wanted to read it.
Yes, I was going to. I was starting it, and I got interrupted. See what you're letting yourself in for here.
Oh, I already know that. I'm going to be Gavin's dancing slave.
What does that mean?
Looks like he set up a pretty strenuous working schedule for you.
Practice makes perfect.
He wants the right to make any and all decisions regarding your physical well-being as it pertains to your dancing.
Gavin doesn't think I can take care of myself.
I don't quite see the point of a contract.
Well, I do. Gavin is giving me free lessons, and he's also letting me use the studio for nothing.
I'm still not so sure you should have signed this. It's probably not legal anyway.
Well, that's true. It sounds like something like this could be voided if you wanted it to be.
But I don't want to. Oh, why should I? It's more to my benefit than it is his.
Well, because it gives him quite a lot of control over your life, Jody.
Well, it's worth it. Gavin really believes I have what it takes to be a good dancer. And he's willing to spend all his free time with me.
Oh, that sounds good.
All right, if you really believe in the guy, Jody, I guess that's more important than a piece of paper.
Well, you two have both met him. What do you think?
He seems like a very intense sort of young man to me.
Well, that's the word for Gavin, all right. But you should see him at the studio. He's really different. Hey, why don't you come down there one time?
Sounds like fun.
How about tomorrow? You could see Gavin in his own environment, and then you'd know I made the right decision.
Well, as much as I'd like to, you're going to have to give me a rain check on that, okay, sis?
Well, why don't you come during your lunch hour? You don't have to stay very long.
Well, because Monticello General doesn't like to let its patients out for lunch.
What?
As it happens, I am going to be in the hospital tomorrow. The MD and the family insist that I go in the hospital, get a complete workup to confirm my diagnosis.
It's the only way we're going to be able to pinpoint the problem, Nicole.
Well, you're always on the go, Nicole. It's no wonder you're a little run down.
Actually, 3 days rest might be all the cure she needs.
3 days? I want to be out of that hospital in 24 hours. No. And would you stop looking so depressed? I'm fine. I'll be seeing you dance in no time.
Can I come visit you at the hospital?
Well, I don't know how with your schedule.
That's right. Gavin might not let you. I'll have to check that contract again.
Would you stop worrying about that? I'll be there. Well, I better get to the Unicorn before I don't have a job.
Okay, I'll see you.
Listen, you're not going to the studio tonight, are you?
Oh, no. I'm taking it easy. My husband thinks I should have the night off.
I can drive you over there if you want.
Oh, no, the bus is fine.
Hey, wait a minute.
Oh, I don't think I'll need it.
You know, the only thing about all this that is really worrying me, it's finding a substitute newscaster.
Well, don't you have a replacement on call? What about that guy that does the news on the weekends?
Harrison. Harrison is subbing for me tonight, but tomorrow he's off to Europe on a vacation. We can't ask him to stay. And the third in line has the flu. We're really strapped for personnel.
Well, I don't think you have to worry. Your job's safe. No matter how long they look, they'll never find anyone like you.
Well, I know who I'd really like to ask. Problem is having to persuade her.
I'll be home at the usual time, which means I probably won't see you till breakfast, so have a good evening, okay?
You're leaving for work already?
Yeah, I want to get to the club early so I could work with my puppets. There's a couple new bits I want to put in the new act.
I guess it's wise to keep the material fresh and timely.
Yeah.
Oh, Kelly, before you go, have you got a minute?
It's my turn to take out the trash, right?
No. But if I remember correctly, you were the last one to have the letter that your parents wrote.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I really only had a chance to glance at it, so could you get it for me? I'd like to finish reading it tonight.
Nancy, I really wish you'd told me that you wanted me to save it.
Why, is there a problem?
Well, when I took it up to my room that night, I looked it over and then I tore it up.
Kelly, you had no right to do that. That was addressed to us.
Oh, I'm really sorry, Mike. It didn't occur to me that it's your private property.
Well, I'm sure that wasn't your intention.
Well, what's done is done.
Well, again, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Listen, I will write your folks and fill them in on everything that's happening here, and if they want to know any more than I tell them, I'm sure I'll hear from them.
Well, I'm sorry again if it inconvenienced you. I better get to the club now. Have a good night.
Good night, Kelly.
Yeah. Good night. I don't know, honey. Sometimes that young man baffles me.
Well, it's not difficult to figure out his motivation in destroying that letter.
Yeah, because it contains information that's very unpleasant to him, and to us, for that matter.
I guess he figured if he got rid of the letter, it would help him forget the events it related. Make us forget as well.
Yeah. He must feel as if he's walking around with the world on his shoulders.
Well, he's young. He should be able to get over
but
it.
It's so sad that he has to walk under such a dark cloud. If only his name could be cleared.
What do you think it would take to do that?
Well, all that young lady has to do is say that he wasn't the one who attacked her.
I wonder if that would be enough.
Well, what else could there be?
Judging from Lee's letter and Kelly's reticence to tell us what happened, I have the feeling that there's more to that story than he's telling us.
Honey, what do you mean?
I get the distinct impression that Kelly is holding something back. I'll get that.
Okay, I'll be upstairs
Okay.
if you need me.
Cliff, come in.
Hi, Mike. Sorry to barge in unannounced. Tried to call you on 3 payphones, but none of them worked.
Oh, your luck's still holding, I see.
You bet it is. I stopped by the docket section on my way out of the courthouse, found a bit of information you might be interested in.
Oh, what is this?
Judge Lewis has set a date for Logan's custody hearing.
So, the trial's going to start sooner than we expected.
10 days. In 10 days, we'll be in Judge Lewis's chambers trying to wrest Jamie from the forces of evil, namely Raven Swift.
Well, I'll be sure to tell Canada to clear my calendar for that week.
It started out as an uphill battle. Now it's going to be like climbing Mount Everest.
If we make the most of the facts, we'll have a reasonable chance.
Wish I could be as optimistic as you are, Mike.
Well, I didn't say it was going to be easy.
It's going to be harder than ever. She got a glowing report from that social worker friend of mine, and now everybody feels sorry for her because of her mother's death.
No judge, even Aaron Lewis, is going to base his decision solely on sympathy.
Yeah, but there is a human being underneath those black robes. How's he going to take a baby away from a woman who just lost her mother?
Well, I suppose it might be a subconscious factor in his ruling.
It won't be very subconscious, not with Raven's Oscar-winning performance. She's going to have a black dress on. She'll have tears in her eyes. She's going to play this one to the hilt. You can bet on it.
Well, I don't doubt that, Cliff. We'll just have to make her stick to the relevant issue. Her fitness as a mother, not her grief as a daughter.
Mike, how would you feel about asking for another postponement?
What for?
Well, 2 good reasons. First of all, we allow more time to pass between the death of Raven's mother and the trial. And second of all, we get another social worker to issue an objective opinion, to counteract Benita Thomas.
But I don't think we could get another postponement, Cliff. Besides, Logan wouldn't want it.
I know he wouldn't want it. Even if it was for his own good. He already told me that.
Did you say 10 days?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. That might conflict with the date of the conference.
Oh, what conference?
The governor's conference on crime. Since I'm past chairman of the State Crime Commission, he's asked me to be pro tem chairman of this meeting.
Wow. The governor himself? Hey, that's very impressive, Mike. Wait a minute. You wouldn't leave me in that courtroom alone, would you?
Well, I hadn't planned to take an active role anyway. Besides, you wanted this case to be yours from start to finish.
Yeah, but I didn't think it'd be this difficult, especially after this trick that Raven just pulled.
Cliff, you can hardly call her mother's death a trick. It's a tragic accident.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who wouldn't agree with you on that one. Hey, wait a minute. That could be an interesting angle.
What could?
Well, I was down at police headquarters and I heard a rumor that some of the cops may suspect foul play.
Are you saying it might not have been an accident?
Apparently Raven and her mother were about as friendly as Cain and Abel.
Cliff, hold it right there.
Wait a minute, don't tell me to hold it. I'm just getting started.
Then don't start if you're heading in the direction I think you're heading.
But don't you see? That's great. Yes, you see, that would discount the whole sympathy angle. If Judge Lewis knew that Raven and her
Cliff,
mother were
we're
at
not
odds-
going to build a case based on innuendo.
What innuendo? Deborah Saxon herself isn't investigating this fact.
Cliff, we're not making that accusation in court.
I'm beginning to find this situation totally unacceptable.
I'm sorry, Elliot, but there's nothing you can do about it.
I'm not buying any of that it's a woman's prerogative things tonight. Why can't you meet me here?
Because I have things to do, and one of them does not consist of sitting here on the phone explaining my life to you.
Well, then I'll meet you at your apartment.
Look, Elliot, I have to pass.
Raven, we've had 10 minutes together in the last few weeks.
A lot is happening.
This is hardly a healthy way for our relationship to blossom and grow, you know? I miss you, Raven. Damn it. I want to see you.
I miss you too, baby, but believe me, what I'm doing now takes prerogative over everything else.
We seem to have a different set of priorities.
Look, I have to go. I'll talk to you later.
Well, look who's here.
Good evening, gentlemen.
It was. What are you doing using a police phone?
Making a call.
You can't come in here and just do whatever you like.
You're, not at home now, Rick.
I didn't do anything wrong.
So who died and made you queen?
This police department is part of the municipal government, is it not?
Well, isn't that funny? I didn't remember a civics lecture being on the evening schedule.
As a taxpayer, I don't need permission to use a phone that I help pay for, and I also help pay for you civil servants' salaries, so I'd appreciate a little respect.
Raven, what do you want?
I want to talk to you, both of you, about something that just might cost you your job. I wanted to speak to you alone, Deborah, but you two must be working as a team.
Sometimes.
So you're obviously working as a team on this disgraceful investigation.
Raven, what are you talking about?
Perhaps investigation isn't the right word. I think the right word is vendetta.
Look, if you'll excuse me, I've got reports to type.
Go ahead. But you might as well type up your resignation along with it, because that's what's going to happen if you continue this.
Raven, what is your problem?
You know very well what my problem is. You are doing everything you can to show that I was responsible for my mother's death.
Oh, now hold it. Somewhere along the line, lady, you got your signals all crossed.
Look, if you're talking about a routine investigation of your mother's
You
accident...
called my mother's lawyer in London and asked about the contents of her will.
Well, that's no secret.
Why do you care who she gave her money to?
It's a routine question we ask in cases where cause of death can't be confirmed.
You see, sometimes people get impatient waiting for their inheritance.
Well, if that's what you want to know, I'll make your job easy. I don't get a cent.
Oh, is that a fact?
Yes, that's a fact.
Has the will been read yet?
No, it hasn't been read, but it will be to Ansel, and you'll see I know what I'm talking about.
Now, what reason would your mother have for cutting you completely out of her will?
My mother and I did not get along. My mother announced publicly that I would continue to get my allowance that Father left me, but my name was not mentioned when it came to her bequest.
Very interesting.
Yeah, thank you for the information. If we come across any more information regarding your mother's death, we'll be sure to keep in touch.
You won't come across any more information concerning me. But believe me, this is my last warning, and I am not kidding. If you continue to stick your noses where they don't belong, I will sue this whole police department, and you might end up civilians again.
Good night, Mr. Swift. Have a safe trip home, and do drive carefully.
I'm not making an idle threat.
Whatever you say, Raven.
Better watch it, Deborah. You know, you have a lot to lose. If you get kicked off the police force, you might have to start acting like a woman again.
To ram slam my billy club right down that lady's throat. Femininely, of course.
Just take it easy.
It's women like her that give women a bad name.
Look, she was just trying to get your goat. Now, if you get all steamed up, that'll mean her mission was accomplished.
Right. You know, the circumstances surrounding her mother's death are still very suspicious. She's probably making all this noise just to throw us off the track.
May sound like you could turn this investigation into some kind of vendetta.
I would like nothing better than to see Raven get hers.
Look, let's not get carried away, Red. Don't forget, Raven isn't the only one who doesn't like what's going on. The chief isn't too fond of it either.
Come in. Ah, Jody. Nice to see your sunny face.
Charlie said you wanted to see me.
Oh, yes, I do. Come in.
I hope this won't take too long, Mr. Dorn. It's pretty busy out there.
Well, I've got good news for you.
Oh, no, thank you. I don't drink.
You'll be less busy from now on until closing time.
Oh?
Yes. I've decided that the kitchen staff isn't undermanned after all. So you can forget about this kitchen chores and go back to waiting on tables.
Well, that's kind of you. If I washed one more thing, I'd qualify for dishpan hands.
We wouldn't want those lovely hands to look like prunes now, would we?
How come you decided to issue the reprieve? Am I getting time off for good behavior?
What do you mean?
You know, we both know why I was sent in that kitchen to wash those dishes.
Yes, because two helpers called in sick.
No, that's not the reason. I was being punished, wasn't I?
Punished for what?
For not having dinner with you.
I was a bit disappointed when you rushed off so early.
Well, I'm sorry, but I have an explanation.
I'd be interested to hear it.
Well, I was going to have dinner with you, but then a girlfriend of mine called and reminded me that I had made plans with her over 2 weeks ago. I didn't think it was fair to break that engagement.
I'm not used to being stood up, Jody. Nor do I care for it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
All right. It's forgotten. Although I still think that people who work together closely should get to know each other better. I'll consider this scheduling mix-up of yours filed and forgotten.
Oh, that's nice of you.
On one condition.
What's that?
That you promise not to disappoint me again by refusing to have dinner with me at the very near future.
Well, I'm busy most nights.
I don't think you should refuse my offer so lightly. Who knows, your next boss might not be so kind as I am. And that is, if you get a job. The job market is very tight, you know.
I think I can find the time.
Wonderful. Only I think I'd like to change the location of our next dinner.
Why? What's wrong with here?
Well, this place serves too much as a reminder of our employer-employee relationships. I'd like to get to know Jody Travis, the woman.
You're the boss.
Now, that's exactly the kind of attitude I don't want. I want you to look on me as a friend. So what do you say? We'll pencil in our next dinner date for your next night off?
Oh, I don't think I can.
Why? Do you have another girlfriend?
No, I was, going to go down to the studio that night and do some dancing.
Well, no problem. I'll take you out to a place where we can both dine and dance, and afterwards we can trip the light fantastic to your heart's content.
That's nice of you, but no offense, it's not the same.
Jody, I'd think twice before refusing my invitation. I don't think I could be as understanding if you disappointed me twice.
My next night off, I'll have dinner with you.
I'm looking forward to it.
I guess I better go put my uniform on now.
Jody, I feel good vibrations between us.
Really?
Yes. I think we could be much more than employer-employee. Don't you?
Hey, Jody, when's the boss gonna let you out of the kitchen?
Oh, I just did.
Jody. Yeah, Jody, what happened in there?
Oh, nothing. I'm fine. That man makes me sick.
Did Mr. Big make another pass at you?
Who, Mr. Dorn? Kelly, how could you think such a thought?
Because he drools every time you walk by.
No, we were just talking.
Listen, if that guy hassles you one more time, I want you to tell me about it.
Oh, Kelly, just forget the whole thing, okay?
Didn't your mother teach you to knock before you entered? Well, what do you want, Kelly?
Leave Jody Travis alone.
Didn't your mother teach you to knock before you enter? Well, what do you want?
Leave Jody Travis alone.
What was that?
I don't want you bothering her anymore.
Kelly, my dealings with Jody Travis are my affair. You're way out of line.
Well, I don't see it that way. Not at all.
I don't know whether you think you're very brave or whether you're just plain stupid. You happen to be talking to the man who signs your paychecks.
You know, I couldn't care less about that. It's the way you're treating Jody that bothers me.
I'm touched by your concern. I happen to think I treat her very well. The hours are reasonable, the wages are fair.
And you expect a lot more from her than just waiting on tables.
Is that what she told you?
It wasn't very hard to figure out. Listen, Jody's not interested in you, so why don't you just look somewhere else?
Who appointed you her guardian angel?
She's a very young girl. Why don't you just hit on somebody your own age, huh?
Kelly, I'll hit on whomever I please. Jody may be very young, but I think she's old enough to make her own decisions. So that's it, huh? I'm dealing with a jealous suitor.
A what?
What happened, Kelly? Did she turn you down? I suggest this would be a very good time for you to leave this office. Don't force me to fire my star performer.
You can do whatever you please, as long as you leave Jody alone.
Don't make tonight the last night of the Poco puppets.
What did you do in there, Kelly?
I almost lost my job, but it was worth it.
Kelly, I told you not to go in there.
Look, I'm not going to let that creep treat you like some sort of sex object.
You're getting worked up over nothing.
Am I? Listen, I saw how upset you were when you came out of Dorn's office before. Now, it's pretty clear that he made a pass at you.
Big deal.
It's a big deal because he's trying to take advantage of you.
Well, he's not the first one to try, and he won't be the last.
You needed somebody to stand up for you, and that's what I did.
It wasn't necessary.
I thought it was.
You thought wrong. I've been taking care of myself since I'm 8 years old. I can handle creeps like Elliot Dorn.
Jody, I don't want to see you get hurt or be taken advantage of.
That's not going to happen. Trust me.
Listen, if Dorn doesn't lighten up, I want to know about it.
Kelly, I know you had good intentions going in there on my behalf, and I appreciate the thought, but it was a foolish thing to do.
I don't want to see you so unhappy.
Unhappy? Kelly, if you would have gone in there and gotten fired because of me, I would have been miserable. I know how much it means to you to work with your puppets. I don't want you to spoil things for yourself because you have some distorted idea of chivalry.
I don't think that what I did was so terrible.
I didn't say it was, but I don't want it to happen again.
You don't want to feel obligated to me.
What?
Well, it stands clear. If I do you a favor, then you're afraid that I might expect one in return.
That's neither here nor there.
Well, then you're on some sort of a woman's lib trip, and you don't want any favors from a male chauvinist like me, is that it?
I didn't say that.
Well, then why won't you let me help you?
Because I don't need your help, or anybody else's. It's that simple.
Jody, I know the way Dorn operates. He's not going to let up on you that easy.
Kelly, you're going to have to learn to control your temper. I want to know if Mr. Dorn looks at me cross-eyed that you're not going to fly off the handle and do something stupid.
Okay. Okay. I'll try to behave myself. There, you feel better?
Jody? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll behave myself, all right? Depending on what he does.
I make the man a star, and this is how he repays me, with insubordination?
So, why don't you knock him down a peg and put him back in the sound and light booth?
Believe me, I'd like nothing better than to kick him out of here. Unfortunately, I have to be realistic. He happens to be the #1 attraction of the Unicorn.
Money talks, huh?
And who would know that better than you?
Don't be nasty, darling.
If you change your mind and promise to come over here, I promise to say nothing but sweet words.
Elliot, I can't. Not only do I not have a babysitter, but I would just like to wash my hair and go to bed tonight.
Well, I was feeling kind of tired, and I thought I'd turn in early myself.
Forget it, Elliot. I told you I do not like carrying on in Jamie's presence. It makes me feel very uncomfortable.
You've been telling me a lot of not very nice things lately.
If you'll just wait until after the custody trial, we will be inseparable. Please, just be patient.
Patience is not one of my virtues, Raven.
Well, I'm sorry. One other thing. Please don't call me back tonight. I just put Jamie to sleep and the phone will wake him up. I'll talk to you tomorrow, okay? Bye-bye.
Scott Residence?
Yes, hello, Molly. Is that you?
Yes, who's this, please?
This is Raven.
Oh, Mrs. Swift. Just a minute, I'll get Mrs. Scott.
No, wait. I want to speak to you.
Me? Well, what can I do for you?
Molly, you could be my lifesaver tonight. Could you come over and babysit for me if the Scotts aren't going out?
I think you better talk to Mrs. Scott. Mrs. Scott, would you take this, please? What is it, Raven?
Hi, April. The lawyer that's taking care of my mother's estate called, and he wants to meet with me tonight. It's an emergency.
So?
Well, I've tried every babysitter I have, and I can't get a hold of one of them.
Well, ask the lawyer to come over to your place.
Well, I thought of that, but he's not in his office, and I don't know where to reach him, so I thought that perhaps Molly could come over for a few hours. You know, she took such good care of Jamie.
I'd really rather not do that.
Why not? Well, you and Draper are certainly competent parents. You could take care of her for a little while, couldn't you?
Yes, I'm quite capable of taking care of my own daughter, so is Draper.
Well, will you do this for me, please? It would mean so much to me.
Raven, it is not right for me to ask Molly to put down whatever she's doing and run over and take care of somebody else's child.
Excuse me, Mrs. Scott, but I wouldn't mind helping out.
Are you really sure?
Well, I wouldn't do it for Mrs. Swift, but for Jamie's sake, I'll bet he needs a nice hot bath.
All right, Raven, Molly will be over shortly.
April, I love you. Someday I will repay your kindness.
The kindness isn't for you, Raven. It's for Jamie. Bye.
Well, thank you. Bye.
Well,
don't want you to worry about Julie and me. We will be just fine.
I know you will. All the same, the minute Mrs. Swift comes back from her errand, I will be through that door as fast as I can.
Well, knowing Raven, I hope you're not escorted into the elevator with the milkman.
Oh.
Listen, I just want you to know that, well, it's very sweet of you to inconvenience yourself like this.
Oh, I just have got to go, Mrs. Scott. That little boy needs someone to take care of him.
I know. It's a shame that that little boy has to depend on competent nursemaids for proper care. Can't rely on his own mother.
I'd be more than willing to give Mrs. Swift a lesson or two.
A lecture on child care will go in one of Raven's ears and directly out the other.
I know. And he is such a sweet little boy. It's really a pity.
Well, hopefully, before long, things will take a decided turn for the better.
You're talking about the custody suit?
Yep. If all goes well, Jamie will be back where he belongs with Logan, a father who can give him more love and attention than any child could hope for.
You have a lot of confidence in Mr. Swift, don't you?
Well, you should see the two of them together. Logan is wonderful with Jamie, and Jamie just adores his daddy.
That's quite an admiration society.
What do you mean?
Well, you're very fond of Mr. Swift also.
Molly, Mr. Swift is a very good friend of mine and Draper's.
Of course.
The nights are starting to get chilly. In a couple of weeks, it's going to be fall. And all the leaves are going to turn to those beautiful colors you like so well. Do you remember what you told me about taking those long walks in the woods? Well, it's time to do that now. I'm sure you don't want to miss it, Emily. I don't want you to miss it. Emily, you've got to come around. You've got to join the world again. We miss you out here. We want you with us. Listen to me. I've been talking to you for how long? I'm not even sure that you realize that I'm here. Emily, you can get well if you want to. Molly told me you've spoken. That's a good sign. It means you're getting better. The doctors want to help you. You have to let them, though. Then you can begin a whole new life for yourself. Don't be afraid. We're all going to help you. Molly, April, and I. Emily, we care about you. Look, I'm going to have to be leaving you. I'm going to be back soon, I promise. And when I come back, I don't want to hear my voice all by itself. I want to hear from you. If you need anything, call me, please. We'll come right away, as soon as we can. Take care of yourself, Emily. Hey, what's all this? Why the tears? There's no need for tears, Emily. Everything's going to be fine.
Kirk. Oh, Kirk.
Oh, hi, Priscilla. How are you? I hate to interrupt, but I have to tell you, I don't see any point for this meeting, unless, of course, you expect me to pay for the beer.
I thought that since the date for the custody trial was set, we ought to have a little powwow.
About what? There's nothing to say, except I'll see you in court.
Maybe nothing to say. Hey, I want to win this case. For you and for Jamie.
I appreciate that fact.
Well, with all the aces that Raven has up her sleeve, we better have a strategy session.
Strategy? Cliff, the strategy's been set for weeks, long before the postponement.
Yes, that postponement that came about because of the death of Raven's mother. Yeah. Her loss is also her gain.
I know, we're going to lose a few sympathy points. We just have to hope it's not going to influence Judge Lewis's impartiality.
No, we have to make sure it doesn't influence Judge Lewis's impartiality.
How do we do that?
Well, I've been working on this little idea, see? It'll more than negate the angle that which sympathy that Raven's going to pull on us.
Let's hear it.
When she comes into that courtroom, all teary-eyed over the loss of her mother, We tell Judge Lewis that this is nothing more than an Academy Award-winning performance.
Why would we do that?
Because the death of Nadine Scott is not a tragic event in Raven's life. She's happy that her mother kicked the bucket.
You have got to be joking.
Well, don't sit around and wait for the punchline. I'm serious.
When we walk into that courtroom, you don't imply anything of the kind. You hear me? Huh?
Yeah, I hear you. In stereo. Mike said the exact same thing. Boy, nobody around here appreciates genius.
That's because it's a cheap shot, genius. We try anything like that, we're going to lose any credibility that we have with that judge.
I don't happen to think so. But there's a basis in fact for this kind of accusation. Deborah Saxon herself is conducting an investigation. She thinks there might be foul play.
And Deborah's reading too much into the circumstances of Mrs. Scott's death. We're going to get laughed out of that courtroom.
What about the cremation?
What about it?
Oh, come on. Raven knew that the police were trying to establish a definitive reason as to why her mother piled up that car. The police are about to issue an order for an autopsy, and she has the body cremated. Very convenient, huh? Very suspicious, too.
Not very. That decision was made by Raven and Ansel Scott during a transatlantic phone conversation that took place while I was present.
That is just a ploy. Why wouldn't Raven wait until after the autopsy to have her mother cremated, huh? Ansel and Raven may be in cahoots.
Cliff, believe me, she is just trying to follow her mother's wishes.
That's what she says.
Look, I appreciate that you're trying to get a little edge for us in this thing, but you're barking up the wrong tree.
I don't happen to think so, you know. You cannot ignore statistics. Most murders are committed by people in the immediate family.
I have a feeling you're not listening to me. I said no. Did you get it? Negative. Yet.
All right. All right. What if Deborah Saxon agrees to testify?
About what? Some unsubstantiated speculation on her part? Like I said, the judge will laugh us out of court.
It's worth a shot, isn't it?
It's worth nothing. Forget it.
Gentlemen, please.
Sorry. You know, sometimes, Logan, I think that I am more on your side than you are.
Cliff, I'd appreciate it if you just forget the whole idea.
Well, look, would you at least think about it?
No.
Well, sleep on it, will you? It'll grow on you.
Drop it. Drop it, or I drop you.
Who is it?
Raven.
Raven! Hello. This is a surprise.
Hi. I hope I didn't catch you at a bad time.
No, not at all.
I'm sorry to just barge in like this, but I have to talk to you.
Well, I'm glad to see you. Can I get you something to drink?
No, thanks. Oh, I've missed you. It seems like it's been so long.
Well, I guess that's been my fault. I meant to call you up. I wanted to, but I've been a little hesitant.
Why?
I didn't know how you'd react. I know you're still in mourning. I thought it might be too soon to call.
You're so considerate. However, I have a problem, Mr. Chief of Police, and it concerns you and your detectives. Do you know that Deborah Saxon is determined to spread some sort of rumor that I was responsible for my mother's accident?
Now, wait a minute. Have we got our signals crossed?
I thought I told you to call her off. Why didn't you?
Deborah is just conducting a routine investigation into your mother's accident. It's not intended to be directed against anybody. Now, come on, you know as well as I do there were some unusual aspects surrounding her death. I think you'd want these questions answered.
My mother is gone. All I want to do is adjust and try to lead a normal life. She is preventing me from doing that.
Look, you're blowing this way out of proportion.
She is out to get me, Derek. Can't you see that?
You're upset. You've been under a lot of stress, and that's why you feel this way.
I'm scared.
Raven, nobody has and nobody will be accusing you of anything.
Don't you see, Derek, I don't need a formal accusation to ruin my life. All I need is the hint of a scandal, and everything will be over with.
What'll be over with?
The custody trial is going to start. All I need is to have some sort of vicious rumor wafting into the courtroom.
No, Deborah would never pull a stunt like that. She's got no reason to.
Well, you have a lot more faith in her than I do.
Everything's going to be all right. Believe me.
I'm sorry, Derek, but I just can't take your word for it.
What else can I do?
I want you to call her into your office and talk to her. I want you to tell her to forget I ever existed.
That won't be necessary.
Derek. Oh, baby. Please. Please do this for me.
That's not the point. I think Molly acted above and beyond the call of duty.
Draper, it is not exactly an unpleasant task for Molly. She happens to enjoy Jamie.
Come on, Raven thinks the whole world's at her beck and call.
Molly was the one who really wanted to go over there. She said if she didn't babysit for Jamie, Lord knows who Raven would have gotten.
Look, if we keep giving her this kind of treatment, we're going to have the longest mourning period in recorded history.
Draper, I am very sure that she is still trying to adjust to the loss of her mother.
All right, look, I don't want to be unsympathetic, but there's a very thin line between being a nice guy and a damn fool, and Raven's going to make us walk that line as long as we let her.
Are you finished?
Yeah, sorry.
Any good news from the hospital?
No, nothing at all.
Well, then maybe it's a blessing Molly isn't here. I'm sure that would disappoint her.
Yeah. Emily's still in her own little world.
I don't know. I just thought maybe your going over there would make a difference since you meant so much to her.
No, there was no change at all.
Didn't she say anything, or did she try to?
No. Not a word.
Oh, look who we have here. Emily Michaels. Pleased to meet you, Emily. I heard the nurses talking about you out there. You're the one who likes to give us fellows a silent treatment, huh? I'm new here. Yeah, but with foxy-looking ladies like you around here to keep old Sharky company, I know I'm gonna like this place a whole lot. You don't talk at all, do you? That's all right. I don't like my women to be all blabby-mouthed, if you know what I mean. You sure are pretty. You don't even know I'm here, do you? You like me, though, I can tell that.
What's going on in here?
Somebody said that a tray spilled, and so I came in here to clean it up, but obviously they were mistaken.
We need help with the laundry cart. Get out there and lend a hand.
Sure thing, I'll be right there. I've got to go now, Emily. You have a good night, okay? Okay. You know something, honey? I have a feeling we're going to be real good friends.
Touch right, left, touch left, and grapevine. Now you take it, right? Left, that's it. All right, looking good. Back. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hey, shake the head now.
Okay, hold it.
For heaven's sakes, Gavin, what's the matter?
Yeah, what's the matter? Was it that bad?
How long have you been here?
I don't know, about 10 minutes maybe. You weren't here when I got here.
So you thought that you would just start a little pas de deux with Officer Nijinsky here?
Hey, take it easy. We was just messing around, that's all.
How many times have I told you never to start prancing around this studio until you've done your warm-up exercises? This is elementary, Jody. This is kindergarten.
Gavin, take it easy. Look, it's my fault, okay? I'm the one who was showing her the stuff.
Calvin, don't you take the blame. You didn't do anything wrong, and neither did I.
I'll tell you when you do something wrong, just as I tell you when you do something right, which isn't too often.
You never tell me I do anything right. In fact, you haven't said one good word about me since I set foot in your studio.
I'll say a good word about you when you do something worth praising.
If you think I'm such a rotten dancer, why do you bother with me?
Okay, look, will you two just cut this out? I mean, you sound like two bad cats on an alley fence.
Well, it's true, isn't it? You don't think I'm much of a dancer. All you know how to do is criticize me and tell me how bad I am and how lazy I am and how I never listen to you.
Well, you just gave me the perfect example, didn't you? Listen, it's all up to you, kid. It always has been. If you know the conditions I set down here. If you don't like them, don't dance. Walk!
Riley, will you calm down? Look, Jody's just a kid. She's just starting out. You got plenty of time to get better.
Calvin, it's okay. Gavin's right. I have to listen to him. He did set up the conditions, and I have to follow them. It's all in the contract.
Okay, go to the bar and start your exercises. Calvin, why don't you run through that soft shoe routine for me again?
No, I'm through for the day. I've got to work before to midnight, so I'm going to have to give up being Officer Nijinsky and just go back to being plain old Detective Stoner, I guess.
I meant that as a compliment, you know.
Sure, why?
Well, I'll see you guys later. I haven't had anything to eat all day.
Okay, half pint. You want to tell me what all this noise is about a contract?
Well, you know what a contract is, don't you?
Well, actually, in my line of work, a contract could be any number of a couple of things. I assume you mean the old-fashioned sign on the dotted line kind, though.
Yeah, it's all written and very formal. Although some people have told me if you took me to court, it wouldn't be binding.
You mean Gavin? What's he going to do, be your business manager or something?
Yeah, well, he's more than that. He's supposed to be teaching me how to dance, but right now he's telling me how to run my life. But I have no one to blame but myself. I agreed to all of this.
Jody, you're not even old enough to sign a legal document. Why don't you just tear it up and forget it if that's what you want?
No, I couldn't do that. Don't you see, Calvin, it's more than the paper I've signed. Gavin's agreeing to give me free dance lessons and letting me use the studio for nothing. He's really not getting anything out of this.
Oh?
No. I really don't think he's sadistic or anything like that. He believes everything he's telling you about dancing. He just takes it too seriously. But don't worry, he'll be sorry every time he yelled at me, because when I'm the big star on Broadway, he won't be able to get a ticket to my performance.
Good for you. I bet that'll be soon, too.
Well, maybe I'll have pity on him and let him stand in the back of the theater with his old coat and his long gray hair.
Well, why gray hair?
Because that's how long it's going to take.
I wouldn't worry about that. Look, I gotta go. If he gets too tough with you, you call a cop. Me, okay?
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See? I'm doing what you told me to do.
Listen, I'm sorry about coming down so hard on you before. It's just that I've seen what can happen to dancers who start out cold. You can hurt your back, pull a muscle, or worse.
I didn't say you were wrong, Gavin.
Yeah, but you probably think I'm wrong in the way I say and do things. And I guess you're right. I'm a dancer, not a diplomat.
Correction. I meant dance teacher.
Don't you think of yourself as a dancer anymore?
Let's start out with something slow.
Something tells me I know exactly what you want to talk to me about.
Well, I'm glad you're a mind reader. We can certainly use one in this department.
You want to talk about the Nadine Scott case, right?
Yes, I want to talk about the Nadine Scott case. That's just what I wanted to tell you. Stop using that damned word when describing it.
Okay, well, it was an accident case, wasn't it?
I think we need a bit more precise vocabulary around here. Now, when I use the word case, it's because there's a crime involved. Do I have to remind you that the medical examiner has already determined that this was an accident?
I know that, Chief.
And when somebody dies in an accident, it is highly unprofessional for a police officer to use tactics better suited for a criminal matter. Such as this, for instance.
Can't see what you've got there.
It's a requisition for a toll call, an overseas toll call.
Oh, that.
You called Nadine Scott's lawyer in London, didn't you?
Well, they call
Mr.
them
Peabody?
solicitors. You know that?
I call it outrageous. Our only obligation was to notify the next of kin. We did that.
Well, look, Chief, if it bothers you that much, I mean, I will pay for the charges out of my own pocket.
Charges, huh? That's the right word, all right. You've been trying to make charges out of this case.
Can't use that word, Case.
You called Nadine Scott's lawyer to find out the terms of her will.
Yeah, and he wouldn't tell me a thing. Can you believe it? Boy, I mean, you've heard about discreet lawyers. Well, I'm telling you, solicitors are a lot worse. Well, Chief, what is wrong with trying to find out who benefits from that poor woman's death?
Her accidental death.
Well, I just wonder if the medical examiner would have called it accidental if we had had an autopsy. If Raven had
All right,
burned
Detective,
her
that's
mother's
enough
body.
on this. This subject is closed.
Chief, do you know that Raven came to see me?
How would I know that?
Well, you do see her on occasion, don't you?
I said this matter was over.
Don't you want to know what she said to me? She told me what her mother's solicitor wouldn't. She said she doesn't stand to inherit one dime of her mother's money.
Now there, isn't that even more reason to stop fiddling around with this matter?
All right, let me ask you just one question. Did she come to see you about this matter?
Let me tell you something, Deborah. If you're implying that I have any personal bias in this matter, you...
Excuse me. I was told I could find Deborah here.
Deborah Saxon was just leaving.
What did he do? Chew you out about the phone call in London?
You know, there was only one thing wrong with that phone call. I didn't learn anything. There's got to be somebody else I can talk to.
I don't believe you. Look, don't you think you ought to give this up? Don't you see how sore Mallory's getting?
There is somebody that I know who knew Nadine Scott very well, and her daughter. My own stepmother, Geraldine Saxon.
I think it's a wonderful idea, Nancy. And you don't have to perform to deliver the news. You just have to know what you're doing. And nobody in Monticello knows news the way you do.
Well, at the typewriter, maybe.
Oh, I seem to recall you being very effective in front of the camera. Remember you were interviewed on that Movers and Shakers?
Oh, well, that was all right. That was just answering questions. But my goodness, this is different. I mean, well, to be taking the place of the darling of the Monticello News.
Flattery will get you nowhere, and the darling of Monticello News is going to be sitting in front of her television set for the next 2 days waiting for these ghouls to take more blood.
Wait a minute. Don't call doctors ghouls. Not in front of me.
Sorry.
Seriously, though, Nancy, I think you'll do just fine. I know you'll make this nervous wife of mine very happy if you agree to take over, just for a few days.
But, well, have you tried to find a professional?
Yes, of course we have, and we haven't had any luck at it either. But professionals, I don't know, what if we found somebody really terrific? I might lose my job.
Oh, well, I doubt that.
But then again, you might be too good. I should really think this over.
You know, Mike thinks it's a wonderful idea. Just talk to him.
Oh, he does he? Well, my goodness, this is really putting the pressure on.
Why not? Anything for this wife of mine.
It really would make you happy if I do this?
Yes, it would make me happy, but not just me. The management of WMON. They would consider it an honor to have Monticello News' finest reporter at their station.
Oh, my goodness. Well, in the words of a famous reporter, flattery will get you nowhere. I can't... Okay, I'll talk to Geraldine about it. Look, I just hope I'm not going to make a fool of myself here.
Thank heavens. I am so glad.
Oh, so am I. Nicole has been a handful the past couple of days. I practically had to tie her up to get her to come in here.
Well, just because of a little dizzy spell.
Has Dr. Stewart seen you yet?
Yeah, he was in here just before you arrived, and he didn't look the least bit worried.
Good.
Of course, it's not his blood they're going to be taking.
Well, really, I don't think you have that much to worry about. You've already had some blood tests taken, haven't you?
Yes, it is office. I don't see why I have to be in a hospital, but, you know, my husband...
Well, he just wanted to do it under controlled circumstances over a period of time with a controlled diet, so forth. It's not going to be that long.
Hey, didn't you say you had some patients that you had to see this afternoon?
A couple.
Something about seeing Emily Michaels?
Oh, that's right. She's in here, too, isn't she?
Well, she's in the Hathaway Pavilion.
Is she very ill, Miles?
I'm afraid so. It's a serious breakdown.
Ah. What can they do for her?
Well, I know they're considering a number of alternatives. Shock therapy is one of them.
It is so pathetic. I think it's obvious that she's just retreating from a very painful situation.
Oh, yes, I realize that.
Oh!
You're right. You're right. See you later this evening. It's one nice thing about being a doctor is we don't have to pay any attention to visiting hours.
Hey, take care of yourself. And don't worry about me. Please.
You know something? I don't think Miles is going to take your advice about not worrying.
Tell you the truth, I'm worried enough for both of us.
Nicole, I don't think you have any real reason to worry. I mean, after all, you know what's wrong.
Not really. There are over 100 different types of anemia, and sometimes they have a very hard time figuring out what some of those causes are.
Well, I mean, is that important as long as they know the cure?
Sometimes there's nothing they can do.
Did Miles tell you that?
Absolutely not. Neither did Dr. Stewart, for that matter. I just have the feeling that unless they know exactly what causes your blood to go bad, there isn't very much they can do about it.
Oh, so that's your feeling, is it? Well, young lady, do you realize that you're wrong in making a judgment like that, even if you are the wife of a doctor?
Oh, I know. I'm just depressed. I was going to be in a television studio tonight, and here I am in a hospital.
Come on. Would you leave the diagnosing up to the doctors and the treatment as well? You're going to be fine. I know it. I insist.
What if this condition is chronic?
Oh, Nicole, please. I want to see some optimism here. Look, take me, for example.
Take you?
Yes. I'm going to be sitting in front of a television camera delivering the news.
All right, that's enough, Jody. Jody, you're overtired.
I'm not. I just have to get my second win, that's all.
Look, I don't want you killing yourself in here. You'll just blame me if you fall dead in the studio.
How am I going to do that if I'm dead?
You'll find a way.
Thanks.
Listen, did you have any lunch today?
No, I didn't.
And I bet you didn't have any breakfast either.
Well, you just tell me not to eat too much before I take a dance class.
I didn't tell you to starve yourself. You need nourishment, Jody. Didn't your mother ever tell you that?
Never.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. You didn't have a mother like that. Well, listen, why don't you go get something to eat right now?
Well, come to think of it, that hamburger you had before smelled pretty good.
Well, I wish you'd told me. I would have gotten you one.
Well, that's okay. I'll just run across the street and get one.
Don't get any of those French fries. They're too greasy.
I won't. Gavin,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for what I said before about the contract. I didn't mean to seem ungrateful.
I know it's not too important to you, Jody.
That's not so.
Yes, it is. You think that it has no validity to it. There's just something to keep me happy. Maybe you're right. If you wanted to break it, I'm sure you could.
But I don't want to break it. Gavin, I wouldn't have signed it if I didn't feel it meant something.
But if things get too rough around here?
I intend to honor the contract. When I signed that, it wasn't just ink on paper. It was something more. Like I signed something in my heart. I better go.
thought you went to lunch.
I thought maybe you might want me to bring you something.
I told you I had lunch.
Gavin, can I try dancing to that song when I come back?
No,
Well, why not?
because I choose the music, remember?
Well, what difference does the music make?
It makes a difference to me.
You know, Gavin, sometimes you're impossible. Why can't you just give an inch?
Martini, why can't you ever take no for an answer? Go get your hamburger.
Martini.
Hello, Emily. How are you? Hope you don't mind my dropping in to see you. I know you can't respond to me now, or don't choose to. It's all right. Just wanted to make sure you knew that we're all very sorry that you're ill. You're not the only person that's ill, by the way. My wife is sick. We just brought her to the hospital. So there's somebody you know close by. Wish there was something I could do for you. I just hope you're aware that I'm here and that all of us are pulling for you. Human mind is such a complicated thing, isn't it? Much more complicated than any of us thinks. Even us doctors. I guess that's why people are so complicated. Maybe it's the human heart that's so complex. Well, anyhow, I just wanted to look in, say hello. But we are thinking of you, Emily. We wish you only the best.
Oh, excuse me.
No, that's all right.
I was just going to fix the window. The nurse said something about it being stuck.
It's okay. I was about to leave anyway. Goodbye, Emily. Goodbye.
Good morning, dear. You look more beautiful in the morning than you do at night. Don't you think?
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find. Always on my mind. And frustrated days pass without sight. The edge of night, half dark, half light. Do you think we might wake